The sky cracked open like breaking glass, spilling a violent shower of ice over the quiet morning streets. The hailstones were huge, white, sharp-edged, and falling fast enough to bruise through jackets. Cade Rowan, a 38-year-old single dad and the relentlessly driven CEO of Rowan Tech Industries, had just stepped out of his car when he heard it, a small, terrified cry swallowed by the chaos of the storm. He froze, scanning the street, until he spotted her, a little girl no older than 7, standing alone in the open as hail pounded the pavement around her. She was shielding her head with her small arms, trembling, her backpack soaked and her shoes splashing in cold puddles. In that instant, without thinking, Cade sprinted toward her. He didn't care about the hail slamming into his shoulders or the cold biting his skin, all he saw was a child in danger. He reached her seconds before a fist-sized chunk of ice smashed where she stood. He scooped her into his arms and shielded her with his body as he rushed them both toward the nearest storefront awning. They collapsed against the wall, breathing hard, but safe. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of helping each other, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Echoes of Kindness. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Cade held the girl gently as the storm kept hammering the streets. Her small hands clung to his coat, and her eyes, wide, dark, and full of fear, lifted slowly to his face. That's when she whispered something that made his breath catch, something soft and trembling. "My mom used to tell me about you." The words haunted him, echoing inside his mind even as he wrapped his coat around her to keep her warm. He hadn't expected recognition, certainly not from a child. And definitely not words like those. When the hail finally softened into rain, Cade carried the girl to his car, buckled her in, and turned on the heater. She told him her name was Aria Winslow. She said she had been walking to school when the hail started, and she had lost her footing near the intersection. But when Cade gently asked about her mother's words, she grew quiet and hugged her backpack tightly, as if guarding a secret. Driving through the thinning storm, Cade couldn't stop his mind from drifting. He was known in the business world as sharp, calculating, intimidating even. But fatherhood had reshaped him. After losing his wife 3 years earlier, he had learned to feel deeply again, to care in ways that frightened him sometimes. His daughter, 9-year-old Selah, was everything to him. Maybe that's why Aria's trembling form reminded him of how badly a child could need someone in the right moment. He took Aria to his office, an open, warm space on the top floor of Rowan Tech where Selah often spent her afternoons. His daughter rushed into the lobby the moment they entered. Selah had his gentle eyes and her mother's soft warmth. She immediately invited Aria to sit with her at the craft table near the window. The girls clicked instantly. For the first time since the storm, Aria smiled. As the girls talked, Cade slipped into his glass-walled office, his thoughts swirling. He needed to contact Aria's family, yet something in her eyes, when she'd spoken of her mother, made his chest tighten. He finally found a number in her backpack and called. A trembling voice answered, Aria's grandmother. Within moments, he learned the rest. Aria's mother, Leora Winslow, had passed away nearly a year ago from an unexpected heart condition. A single mother, she had worked 2 part-time jobs and still found time to volunteer at homeless shelters. She had been known for saying that kindness always circles back, that when you give selflessly, the world gives something back when you need it most. A few months before her death, she had apparently told Aria stories about a man who helps without asking anything in return. A man she had met once, briefly, during a charity tech event. A man she said had inspired her to keep going even during her hardest days. That man was Cade. He remembered the event faintly, a woman with warm eyes, holding a tray of food, telling him how she wanted to create something meaningful for struggling families. He had spoken to hundreds of people that night, but somehow her words had stuck with him, the sincerity in them, the brightness. He never knew she carried that encounter with her. When Aria's grandmother arrived at Rowan Tech to pick her up, Cade felt an unexpected heaviness. The little girl hugged him tightly before leaving, whispering, "Thank you for saving me, like my mom said you would someday." He had to blink rapidly to clear the sudden sting in his eyes. Days passed, but Aria's presence lingered in his thoughts. The storm had shaken something loose inside him, something he had buried beneath years of deadlines, meetings, and responsibilities. He found himself remembering the early days of the company, when he had wanted to build more than profit, when he had wanted to build impact, change, hope. Somewhere between shareholder reports and board pressures, the meaning had blurred. Then, a week later, Arya and her grandmother visited Rowantek again. This time, Arya ran to him with a drawing, crayon colors bold and uneven. It showed him holding her hand under a sunny sky. At the top, in shaky handwriting, she had written, "Thank you for being someone my mom believed in." That was the moment something shifted completely inside him. He realized that his life, no matter how successful, had been quietly missing the very thing Leora had lived by, purpose rooted in kindness. And he realized he wanted to help Arya, not out of pity, but because he could. Because someone once inspired Leora, and in turn, she had inspired her daughter. The chain didn't have to end there. Cade started a foundation in Leora's name, the Winslow Circle, designed to support single parents, struggling families, and children who needed safe places during emergencies. It became a beacon of hope in the city. And every month, Arya visited Rowantek to see Sayla. The two girls became inseparable, their laughter filling the office halls like sunlight. Life began to feel fuller, richer, threaded with a kind of warmth Cade hadn't felt in years. He realized that sometimes, the world brings a storm, violent, sudden, frightening, not to break you, but to lead you to someone who can help you rebuild. And if this story touched your heart, I invite you truly to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Echoes of Kindness. Your engagement helps more people see stories that remind the world what compassion looks like. Before you go, I have a special request. Comment a heart emoji if you believe kindness always finds its way back. In the end, Cade Rowan didn't just save a little girl from a hailstorm. She saved him too from a life that had forgotten the quiet power of doing good. And together, under brighter skies, they built something that would keep echoing kindness for years to come.